Hi waves, my name is Rue. And welcome to my video. Today I want to discuss with you about the theory algorithm of colors representing each member of TripleS. First of all, I want to start from basics. Let's go. The first thing we'll talk about is the RGB color palette. This is not a simple color palette that many of you are familiar with. RGB is a significant abbreviation. RGB, red, green and blue, refers to a system representing the colors used on a digital display screen. Red, green and blue can be combined in various proportions to obtain any color in the visible spectrum. The RGB model uses 8 bits each from 0 to 23 for red, green and blue colors, which is familiar to 24 members. We won't go too deep into this, because what I said earlier is enough for us to build a theory. The next one is complementary color theory. Complementary colors are two colors that are on opposite sides of the color wheel. Like in our color wheel we have red, which is opposite to blue. That means that they are complementary. That's all. First, we will place each member on their places in our color wheel. I took this wheel as a basis. It is the most convenient for me. We won't talk much about their place in the TripleS Cosmos, which is their universe, except for one member, but that's for later. So S1 Soyeon is the first member who in one way or another represents for us the beginning and end of the algorithm. Her representative color is Dodger Blue, which is an intermediate color and is found on the bottom of our wheel. Remember what I said about the beginning and the end. Let's move on. S2 Heron is the second member from whom all the fun will actually begin. Her color is Electric Purple. On our wheel it takes pride of place in the dark purple hue. Go ahead. And now, Pookies, let's remember everything I said about complementary colors. Geo S3 represents lemon yellow and is directly opposite S2, which is heron. It is according to the principle of complementing color and their serial number. All subsequent members will appear like this. With some exceptions, of course, a bug in the system, so to speak. But this also has a place in the algorithmic sequence that I found. Next. Cheon and Yuyin. S4 Cheon is Atlantic Green, and S5 Yuyin is Opera Pink. Actually, they take places opposite each other. In turn, Sumin, which is S6 representing pink, and Nakin as S7 representing cadet blue, will be located here. Next comes our system error. S8, which is Yubin. People involved in the lore of the TripleS know that she is somehow getting out of the participant system. She also represents the number 8, which is very important for our universe. So, her color is Misty Rose, which is out of the RGB system or not quite. Her color is much lighter compared to the other members, which may indicate that Yubin plays some important role in the TripleS Cosmos. Based on the photo from the AAA era, I dare to assume that the original color of S8 is reddish pink. In fact, this has its own logic, because Misty Rose is the shade of this particular intersection of colors. The next girl we'll look at is K-Day. Her color is Sunglow Yellow, which is exactly symmetrical to the position of S8 Yubin. From this I assume that we are moving along the 8-bit system, which means that K-Day is the starting point of the next dimension. But we won't dwell on the plot for too long. Today we are interested in the principle of the algorithm. Next. S10 and S11. They are open up the second link of the algorithm. It operates on the same principle as the first. But there are still differences, we will look at them soon. S10, which is Diane, is lavender, and S11 Kotani is a very complex and interesting shade which is named golden yellow. We will place them here. Next, S12 and S13, the most chaotic, Neon and Yeonji represent royal blue and neon carrot and located exactly here. We are already close to the end. This is the completion of the second dimension. S14 Sohyun represents Egyptian blue, which is the original blue color. In turn, Sinew S15 is represented by Venetian red. If everything is clear to you, let's move on. S16 Mayu showed as the last presented member so far, which roughly completes our second 8-bit system. Her color is tangerine orange and she placed between S15 and S13. From there we see that she is a complementary color of S1 Soyeon. Remember what I said about the beginnings and the ends? Mayu completes the second dimension, but thereby opens the third one. And now we will look schematically at the three main graphs and I'll try to explain to you how I found the colors of the next TripleS members based on it. We will look at the algorithm itself on the diagram. To make it clear, I divided it into 3 dimensions, 3 selection systems. Let's look at 2 first for a more correct understanding. Let's take the second decade of participants from S9 to S16, with the exception of S9 and S16 themselves, and visually divide our wheel into upper and lower parts. As we can see on the upper part, warm quadrant, there are S11, Cotonou, S13, Neon, S15, Sinew. On this part are participants with an even serial number and a warm shade of color. On the bottom are the participants with odd numbers and cold shades. S10 Dian, S12 Yanji, S14 Sohyun. Following this, we can assume that the only free place on this graph is exactly suitable for the algorithm and participants S17, Lin, which is odd number, and S18, Jubin, which is even number. Now let's look at the first diagram. In it we will take the first 8 members, with the exception of S1 and S8, according to the same principle as in the first case. We find out that the same story comes out here, with an error of 1, that is, S7 and S6 are knocked out. Nakan is the only odd number, while Samin is the even number. Therefore, in the upper part where the order goes odd, even, odd, the next number goes even. It follows from this that S20, Cheyenne, will be in the upper quadrant, and in the lower part of the last there will be S19 Han based on the sequence even, odd. Even means 4 will be odd like S19. Now we have found out that most likely Lin will represent the deep pink color. Jubin will complementary to her with Eden green, and in turn Cheyenne will represent the bright green color, and Haiyun pink purple. Combining both graphs, we can notice that the TripleS next participants form an X, which is most likely X in next. And now let's look at the last graph, from which we can find out the colors of the members S21, 22, 23, and 24. We have Son and Mayu, between which there are exactly 14 points. It means that if you add 14 to S8 Yubin, S23 will be complementary directly opposite her. And if we take S9 K-Dai and add 14 points, we get S24, which is complementary to S9. Therefore the remaining 2 colors will be S21 and S22. Suddenly, I can't say exactly how the algorithm works for them, that's all. We analyzed the algorithm by which TripleS members are introduced and at least a little closer come to the solution for our lore. I would be grateful if you like and share this video. And also, here is my Cosmo ID. Always open to gifts. Bye bye.